AM 560. The Answer.
American woman, stay away from me. American woman.
So I'm going to make an argument right here on your show. I think this is not a flaw in some states. It's a feature, and here's why. If you look, for example, at personal care services, which are when you do things for your family that your family used to do for you, like carry the groceries upstairs, in America right now, we're paying people to do that. In New York State, there's twice as many people doing that as any other job in the state. Same in California. Well, think about this. Instead of being unemployed, you could have people carry groceries and get paid by the federal government. And then what you do is you can tax those benefits that they're getting, right, to what their salaries are. That increases the state income tax. But they also are now putting these people in a union, and the union can take that money, the union dues, and pay it into a political party to support their candidates. I wrote a
one giant scam. All frauds. All Democrat dungholes where the insurance costs are up because the people there suck. George in Naperville.
Sean, I went to Johnny's last week, and I was behind a lady in line, and when she got up to order, she ordered 2 combos and cheese fries. You know what the guy said to her?
Cheese fries?
We have
mind?
fries, but no cheese.
Yeah, and I like the fact you did it with the right accent. That's not an Italian accent anymore. These Mudigans ruined everything. All Buffaloes.
It's still great, Sean.
Did you see how fat everybody is over there? My word. You want to talk? Is there a woman on North Avenue that hasn't driven from the city that has less than a yardstick of ass crack? Is there one? I don't think there is.
Don't lose your roots.
No, never. Are you nuts? Terry, Shirekistan.
Hey, Sean, years ago I took this accounting course at DePaul, and the instructor said if it wasn't for the invention of debit and credit, the accounting system in 1400, you never would have had the Renaissance, because that allowed the Medici family to accumulate wealth and made sinecures for Michelangelo and Da Vinci. And so capitalism was the catalyst for the Renaissance. How come you and that guy that was on earlier, you guys don't talk about capitalism in a positive way?
Oh, what do you mean? We always talk about capitalism. We talk about the bastardization of it more importantly, and we definitely talk about the age of feudalism, which is what the Democrats scourge and scum constantly deliver, which is why I just play you that scam of Medicare entitlement bastardization, pretending it's revenue and everything else. I think that's all we talk about. I mean, we may not have done it in the years of the Medici, but we did it in the years of the Federal Reserve. You're talking to a lot of people who don't go back that far when it comes to the Medicis, who were also in bed with the Vatican Bank and scallywags at time. Although good-looking, and they were the inventors of how to politically corrupt an era, that doesn't mean we have to credit them with capitalism. Capitalism is this country. 250 years. The richest and the highest quality of life because we're unlike all the socialist communist states and their cities and all the countries that destroy the quality of life, that all of these punk kids pretend to be advocating for and delivering, which has scared some of the old bastards, whether it's Murphy, a senator, or some other suck-on congressman. At least they're explaining they are socialists, and they think you are too.
I think there's 2 big themes at play here. First of all, Republicans, as you played earlier, have been calling Democrats socialists since the 1930s when FDR introduced Social Security. And now Social Security is the most popular program in America. So,
no, it's not. Not even close. Not to people who can think and reason. And they could never really get elected, Squirrel. Couldn't get elected. They steal elections. And the vote is in. And the Dominion system and all the fraud that was audited. You didn't hear this on the local news or even the national news. Because it's absolute unequivocal. 2020 was stolen.
In voting machines used in the state. The 23-page forensic report concluded that the Dominion voting system is intentionally and purposefully designed with inherent errors to create systemic fraud and influence election results. The report, released by Allied Security Operations Group, ASOG, detailed the findings from a forensic examination on Dominion voting systems in Antrim County, Michigan. On election night, Antrim County switched 6,000 votes from President Trump to Joe Biden, allegedly due to an unexplained glitch. Poll workers tried very hard to report the problems with Dominion voting machines, but local officials, including the Secretary of Michigan State, turned down their requests. claiming that it was the result of user human errors. In early December, shortly after Antrim County resident William Bailey filed a lawsuit to challenge the integrity of the election equipment, Judge Kevin Elsenheimer of the 13th Circuit Court ordered forensic imaging of the Dominion voting tabulators and related software. However, he also placed a protective order to restrict the use and distribution of the forensic findings. It wasn't until December the 14th that Judge Elsenheimer agreed to lift the protective order and allow the release of the report. A team from Dallas-based cybersecurity firm ASOG conducted the investigation on behalf of plaintiff William Bailey. The team took forensic images and reviewed the county's 22 Dominion tabulators along with thumb drives and related software.
And while the Nazis were in charge with... You couldn't even say that name without getting sued. Ooh, they'll sue you! They were just protecting the cover-up. And that's all we lived through. Not only COVID, but the most fascistic era of American Nazis this country ever saw.
We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
And that's how history will remember it. That and the amount of money that was stolen from the American taxpayer in more than just entitlements, but in policy.
The report has revealed that Joe Biden's HHS spent $22.6 billion in grants for migrants, covering cars, home loans, cash, housing, health care, and even money to start up businesses, all funded by American taxpayers. According to the report, the Office of Refugee Resettlement funded billions to nonprofit organizations, acting as a, quote, giant magnet for illegal migrants, all while losing track of 32,000 migrant kids. More than $12 billion went to unaccompanied minors, even though reports exposed unvetted and abusive sponsors.
Someone check the Podesta's closet. 312-642-5600.
This is the Sean Thompson Show, where Democrats are always wrong, Republicans are seldom right, and politicians are never, ever to be trusted. On AM 560, The Answer.